Hello friends, welcome to Exampur. I hope my voice is audible clearly, screen is visible, everything is set or not. Please do let me know. So that I can continue with the session. So before going further for the session, I just want to let you know regarding some important points of the Exampur app. If you want to purchase the Exampur app, you will get to say a lot of benefit that is available for free. Okay, just in order to make the installation of the app, you are required to go through these 6 steps. You just need to get the registration on the same, and you will have access of various benefits, amazing benefits that is available on free basis. So please do not forget to take the advantages which is available for free. You are just required to make the installation of that app through the Play Store. So guys, live paid courses are available with the test series. Paid courses are there. You are just talking about, and PDFs you will get for the free. On that basis, all exam previous year questions paper are available, and various tests would be conducted, and on the basis of that you would be available, you would get the access of scholarships. On that behalf, you can purchase the batches in various way, because every set of exams are available. Every set of exam you would get to see on our app, Exampur app. Next is all about free full length sectional test with the report cards. Means with the analytical approach, you will get to see the kind of things available on the same platform, and wise PDFs, practice set of PDFs, like in what ways you are making the analysis. We are going to just let you know about those approaches as well. Daily, weekly, monthly current affairs would be available. Unlimited subject-wise practice question paper would be there on the same approaches. So these are kind of benefits that is available for the job or aspirants whosoever is making preparation of. For that being, you are just required to make the installation of that app. Okay? You just have to go through these 6 steps. Next point is all about the food subsidies. Food subsidies. India's food subsidies plan need to improve the coverage and plug leakages. What we are talking about over here, about the food subsidies, you might have heard about the food subsidy. Like we are providing the access to the people who do require food at the cheaper access. We are providing subsidies in both the ways, whether it be from the supply side. If we do talk about the protection of farmers, we are providing MSP based, trying to provide the security basis for the farmers by providing the fixed income, at least that would be available to the farmers. Okay, minimum support price against low market price. Against the low market price, suppose I have produced the product that is for 10, okay, or I get to see the price at 7. Why would I bear that huge loss? So in order to prevent me out of these losses, government is providing me the MSP, minimum support prices. No need to worry. They are just giving a kind of role to the farmers that you are not required to take much worry. We are going to providing you helping hand in the name of money support price, so that you could feel secure, and out of that security you would not stop making production in the food grains. That is our main perspective, with affordable food grains through public distribution system. Okay, affordable we are talking about, so that it could become affordable for the farmers to make production. Obviously, As if we have, why would we talk about the farmers if things are given related to the food subsidies? Because food subsidies are on behalf of producer and consumer basis both. Okay, in order to understand that, you are required to do the same. Central government has allocated about 5.2% of its total budget. 5.2%. This is huge budget. That is for the food subsidy program. We are only allocating our 5.2%. 5.2%, that is only for the food subsidies program, means we are giving the protection over the prices which should be available, which could be available for the farmers. Farmers prices, MSPs, like low market prices, are also the part of the same. Next is all about provide the consumer with affordable food grains, whatsoever prices we are making available through the medium of public distribution system. Public distribution system, we are providing the things available at the cheaper access. So these two categories are coming under the food subsidies. Food subsidies means if we do talk about with reference to the farmers, and if we do talk about with reference to the consumers, and consumers are getting the access of food grains at lower prices, and they are getting the access of MSP, which is more than the prevailing prices available in the market. So in both the hands, food subsidy is playing the role, and in order to play that role, budget has allocated 5.2%, 5.2% to the country. We are just talking about the recent budget 2022-23. Okay. Next is all about, however, food subsidies criticized for the inadequate coverage. Our most important locus and most important focus is to look at the condition which is making how much things are covered and how much are the leakages out of the programs, which is the matter of criticism, we can say. Okay, examine the various ways in which subsidies has fallen short. And recently, if I do talk about PDS is totally under the PDS is already into the picture due to the WTO matter. We were talking about exporting the food grains out of our PDS, since this is available in surplus. I am going to talk about that later after finishing up this slide. Food subsidies is both consumer and producer. Producer, who is the producer? It comes from the side of farmers. Available, make the farming remunerative and sell the grain to the poorer farmers at the lower prices. If you are providing the food grains at the lower prices, to whom you are making the provision to the consumers. Okay, and in some cases for free, some part of the subsidy is also spent on the maintenance and the administrative cost. Some part of the subsidy, what this is all about, subsidies are given for the maintenance, spent on the maintenance, administrative cost, like wheresoever you have just if I would require money for the fertilizer in order to make the uses of fertilizer, and which is putting a kind of burden on the cost, then government would come into the picture and would say, we are going to maintain this and we are going to provide you money for this, and in order to provide that, this kind of category would get involved in the food subsidy. Okay, so next is all about center and state buy food grain for distribution under PDS, and center buy it through FCI. Center buy it through FCI, Food Corporation of India, under centralized procurement. Centralized procurement means things are getting associated. We are trying to make the base widening day by day. Okay, we are trying to make the base widening day by day by how? Central procurement, centralized procurement, as things are being assessed with the help of CACP in order to determine the cost and price ratio, come into the picture in the year 1965 in order to just assess or make the measurement of the cost and prices, and they are going to give the relief hands and on what basis MSP has to be calculated. For that basis, we at least have a glance regarding the measurements. Okay. So this is what we are talking about. Number of state agencies buy it for the respective states, where we are talking about that whatever level of food subsidies we are talking about, this subsidies has to be divided in two parts. Producers, who are the real producers? Those are farmers. And second is about consumers. Consumers is all about making the demand for the cheaper goods. Making the demand for cheaper food grade. Okay. Producers are getting privilege by availing the prices which is more than the market price. It's a kind of supporting hand being provided by the government. Okay, clear this much? And how much subsidies? These both the parts are getting involved under the food subsidies criteria. What is the budget allocation? Allocation of food subsidies 5.2% as per 2022 and 23. Okay. So what centralized procurement we are talking about? FCI. Things are already in picture. FCI, we do talk about Food Corporation of India. We have to maintain the PDS in a fixed proportion. We are required to maintain a fixed proportion just to provide access to the consumer and making the demand fulfilled for the cheaper access. At the cheaper access you can talk about. Then why this is in the limelight? Just because of WTO issue, who has demanded from the countries that whosoever is already in the famine condition, like if I can put the example for 25 countries of Africa, which were under the shortages, which were under the famine condition, just because of what reason? Russia would not able to make supply, has not made any kind of supply to those countries, and that has prevailed the situation in those countries of famine and the food crisis. So WTO made a kind of request to the countries, whosoever having the surplus, whosoever having the production, to make supply of the food grain to these countries so that they can come out of this condition. That would be a kind of a relaxed condition, no? So we are talking about the same. So India has come into the picture. They has requested, because no country is allowed to make exports out of the PDS. Getting my point? PDS, public distribution system, is meant for the section which is inaccessible in the resources. We have to fulfill the requirement of those people first. What is the matter when we are not making our people equipped and trying to make the supply just to have the acknowledgement for global scenario? Getting my point? In order to just reduce the poverty line, we are trying to take the help of PDS. And if we are making supply out of this, what about our people living in our country? This was the matter we were talking about in WTO. WTO has denied this request. What if we are giving the permission to India? What about the other countries? Many a times, other countries could take the advantage out of the situation if we would given yes to you. India has just claimed over it that whatever PDS or food grains we are giving, these are the leftovers. These are the surplus. So we can make the supply. These are not coming under the utilization for the PDS even. So we are showing the liability. We are trying to fulfill the requirements to the people whosoever facing the food crisis. And especially this was denied because these things are supplying the resources at a cheaper rate, and governments are going to get returns out of it. Many times country could take the advantage out of this situation, because if they would supply, like WTO has not given the permission, if they would given the permission of supply at cheaper access, they could have created the situation in the global scenario of price decline, price depression. Getting my point? No other country could have made the compatibility with these prices, because we are providing the food grain at this prices just because we are taking the things out of the storage for this prices, because we are taking the things out of the PDS system. That is why we are providing the resources at cheaper rate. These are not the real prices, right? So if we are providing the food grains at cheaper rate, this can create the scenario in the global world. And this compatibility might cause a kind of situation again for the country which is going in the downtrend situation. Okay? So this would be disastrous situation for the global cause. Okay. Next is all about, this was the current matter we were talking about, centralized procurement. As we are talking about the centralized procurement, if centralized procurement, so FCI, I have just discussed and I have just let you know about the matter of WTO and what kind of demand has been made out of the PDS. Getting my point? The way I have made the explanation of this slide, what was the matter? What was the matter behind it? We were trying to sell the surplus of PDS to the economies which are under food crisis. Okay, this was the scenario. Due to that reason, prices are low, and this can condition a kind of a depressing state for the global scenario. I just want to say this. Next is all about centralized procurement. Procurement is a wider term. It's a kind of processing which you have to make the starting from the assembling and go to the level of distribution. It includes many of the states, many of the layers or levels. And Food Corporation of India buy rice and wheat from farmers at minimum support price and sell it to the central issue price. What do we mean by the minimum support price? This is the minimum price. At least this would be allotted to the farmers. Minimum support price. Are you getting my point? Like, this is the minimum level. You can make the payment to the farmers. Government is going to provide the payment at this rate for the products or food grains they are producing in the market. Next is all about central issue price. These are the lower prices determined by the government, must be lower than the MSPs. Okay? Okay? Is it done so far? Through the PDS shops, CIP central issue. These are the matter of centralized issue, procurement issue. MSP we are talking about. These are the prices for the farmers, and this is the CIP, centralized or central issue price. This is for the prices. These are the prices, lower prices, which are available below the MSP. Below the MSP, we are talking about the PDS shops. This is with the reference of PDS shop. This is with the reference of MSP. Okay. Next is all about some of this grain is also used for welfare schemes. Obviously, some of these, whatever grains we are using for the PDS sense, like in order to provide the access to more and more people, food security has widened. It is one of the largest, program we are talking about in the entire world. Yesterday I was talking about the security when I was making you understand regarding the universal income insurance. We were including what? Parameters: income security, health security, food security. Under the food security, PDS plays an important role in that domain. To provide the food grain to the armed force are also sold in the market in lean. These are the foundation providing the helping hand for the midday meals. CIP is less than MSP. This difference is covered by the food subsidies, which is transferred to FCI each year. Many a times it could be asked that what you could be asked FCI each year. Who is the just collecting the food subsidies? By the Food Corporation of India, as all the procurement has to be handled or managed by the Food Corporation of India. Getting my point? Food subsidies are the point between the MSP and CIP. So next, Food Corporation of India 1964 was established for purchase, storage and movement, transport, distribution. I was just talking about. First step, you just need to make the assembly of the goods. You are accumulating the resources. Then you are just making the segregation you can talk about. Third is all about grading. After the grading and standardization, as per the similarity factor, because many of the food grains you are talking about, fruits and all these kind of grains, crops, whatsoever, if you are keeping it for the storage, many of the food grains or fruits would require the similar temperature. You can keep it at the one place. That is called the standardization, which is required the same temperature, same decorum. You can just maintain that. And it is then we have to maintain the quality basis, segregation. Fifth is all about grading, is all about that only, and the price determination, then the distribution. These are the steps has to be undertaken by the FCI. FCI has come into the picture in 1960 Act, according to the Act, because FCI, CACP, MSP, these has come into the picture approximately one after the other. Besides getting money from government directly, it has in past also raised money by borrowing from the, many a times money from the government directly. It raise money by the borrowing from a small saving fund from the banks and issuing the bonds for the similar prospects. Next is all about, if you are talking about the food security, I have told you about, this is one of the largest scheme in the entire world. In the entire world. In the world, this is the largest program. Okay, 67% of the population, 67% of the population from 23 to 30% after the Security Act 2013. And now you can take a glance of Odisha, where you have taken the first edition in which you are making reporting how different states are working in what nature, so that you can just make the comparative analysis and can make the upgradation in your scenario, that if that state has done so far and why we can't make it improved. We can just make the inspiration from the Odisha that they have performed so well. We can also make the improvement in that basis. So according to NC Saxena, former member of a PC Planning Commission, the PDS was an administrative scheme. Administrative scheme it was. So it is one of the biggest welfare program we are just talking about. 5.2% I have already mentioned. 5.2% I have already mentioned. Next is all about 5 expenses. 5 expenses of the government. You can just take excluding the interest payment. Whatever interest payment we are making, we are not including that. Beyond that, it is among the top 5 expenses of the government, as we are making spending of 5.2% on the food subsidy. Subsidy among the top 5 expenses of government. Okay. After defense, transport, transfer to the states, and pensions. After these things, government is making expenditure on the food subsidies. Or 67% of the coverage of population coming under this category means TDS is literally playing a crucial role in Indian economy. So decline is because of government paid the loan FCI took from the NSS with no income of its own, depend entirely on the food subsidies. Like if I do not possess any income, I would have to get reliance on the subsidies. If I am not getting any like loans and all, I would have to take money out of the banks and out of the issuing bonds to raise the funding if I am not getting directly income. So, what kind of schemes working under this? There was an increase in distribution of food grains, whatsoever is coming under the pandemic year due to the addition of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana relief package that included among other things. Included among other things means 5 kg of additional rice, wheat and 1 kg of pulses. 5 kg of additional rice. 5 kg of additional rice are coming under the category. Next is or the wheat, whatsoever is required. 1 kg of pulses for every free available. For every month it is available for free. Getting my point? So schemes not being extended after November 2021. It was only validate for the pandemic time in which really public were facing such an huge scenario. This is for the point that if you are talking about the PDS, out of that, things are getting accommodated for the food security, and whatever this is program all about the 2013, this is the one of the largest in the world, covering nearly 67% portion, if we do not have access of the resources which is required in order to accommodate such a crucial resource or such a crucial segment. So in that condition, we have to take the loan from bank and issuing bonds. Both the condition. Okay. Next is all about use of 2011 census. It is talking about ration card to be issued has resulted in 100 million people being excluded from PDS. What we are talking about here is, India spent reach out to the media Ministry of Consumer Affair and the food public distribution of income. What we are talking about here is whatever coverage, the way things are getting increased in coverage. If 67% population is included under the food security, means such a huge population is the part of it. What we are trying to say over here is PDS somewhere related to the food security. What we are talking about here, it is making the major concern, food security making major concern for the consumer affairs. Obviously, it has to make the dealing with the ministry. Next is this is making the deal with the public distribution. And what we are saying about ration card, number of ration card of be issued has resulted in the 100 million people have been excluded. What we are trying to say over here is, I am just going to let you know about the current state of the pandemic, that migrants has faced the situation where they did not access the food grain due to having ration card of different state. You just have to focus on these words. Migrants, what we are just talking about, we have excluded 100 million people from the ration card. What I'm just trying to say, at the time of pandemic, this is the major section suffered a lot, has faced the situation where they did not access the food grain, did not access the food grain due to not having the ration card, due to having the different ration cards of different states. Getting my point? If I am belonging to Rajasthan, suppose, or in search of work, I have moved to Delhi, but I do possess ration card of Rajasthan. Okay, if I have moved to Delhi, I could not get access of PDS or ration shops due to having ration card of different state. I hope this is very much clear. So this problem has been sorted because just by extending the base for FD, the way fiscal deficit limit has been extended for states from 3 to 5%. And where we have to make the investment of 1%, it has been given the limit for the ration cards, one nation, one ration card, so that such kind of problem would not be faced by public, whosoever is the eligible beneficiary of the same program. Okay, ration card, one nation, whichsoever state is working on this, they would be given privilege on that behalf. Okay. Next is all about criticize for the leakages. 47% of total grain increase, which has increased since 2004 in a move to eliminate inefficiencies and pilferages, link the ration card to Aadhaar. Benefits of the move are unclear. What we are talking about, various kind of leakages you get to see in the scenario. Like PDS subsidy only cereal, since FCI only procures rice and wheat. What we are trying to say over here, lots of leakages we get to see under the program, and 47% if we are talking about, this is making huge difference. If such kind of things are continue to move on, such kind of inefficiencies continue to move on, then it is not at all sustainable for the basis we are just want to make it equipped. What we are trying to show over here, on one hand we are trying to helping the countries out of the surplus available in our PDS. And on second hand, we are just claiming that procurement is about to get over. There is no leftover which is there. Due to that reason, we are just continuously making the upgradation in prices. Production has gone down. So procurement has to also go down, no? Why there is so much of leftovers which we can make the supply? Getting my point? There is contradiction in between between the talkings and production available with our country. Number of household as per the survey, consumption survey of 2011 and 11 and 12, and whatsoever like agriculture survey do take place every 5 years. The way census take place every 10 years, no? Agricultural census take place every 5 years, which has just recently been estimated. Incidence of poverty is higher than the estimation of consumption survey. Incidence of poverty which is greater than the consumption survey. What we are talking about here is our main aim by providing the food security is to eradicate the problem of poverty, just to make the people out of the poverty trap, and plus eradicate the problem of hunger. So 32.75% of the people in rural were poor compared to 8.8 people urban area. Why is it so? They do not have many of the resources to get equipped. And our rural people do have more poverty in comparison to the urban people. Next, inefficiencies in PDS. Economists have argued both for and against cash transfer would also beneficiary to purchase the grain. The need for fair price shops instead of getting the grain directly for free. Getting my point? What we are trying to say, instead of just it is just against the cash transfer. What we are just trying to make the people you can just provide these kind of facility with cash, with rupee you are spending on the expenditure that is for survival, instead of providing the things for free. It would be better if we are charging the price that would be so cheaper they can have the access at least 1 or 2 rupee for the food grains. Food subsidy schemes is essential for the social security dimensions for both, whether it be about consumers or the farmers. What we were talking about, food security is the core part. Food security is the core part, not only for producers, as we are providing the MSP to them, and not only for farmers, consumers, we are providing CIP to them. And whatever difference which has to be covered by food security. What is our ultimate aim? Ultimate aim is to eradicate the poverty or mitigate the poverty and hunger. Hello, Asad. So we just have to make the food security. It is the basic difference. I hope you would get a kind of glance that MSP minus CIP is making the food security. Food subsidy. This is the basic difference between them. If you have been asked what is the basic difference between the MSP, that has to be provided to the farmers, and this is the rate you have, what we are charging. These are the minimum prices we are charging from the ration card. And whatever is the difference between these two terms, that is food subsidy. Okay. So this is all about the mantra batch, or we are just making the availability of a different subject. Thank you so much, Asad. If these notes are helping, it would be really helpful for you. And this is about the batch regarding the 5 subjects which are the core part, of the examination. These 5 subjects are given. Topics wise discussion would be there. Things will get done within the time limit. And if you get to see any kind of problem, queries, and the questions, answers are there, which is not available in the session of the batch, you have access. You have access for the Zoom meeting, and you will get to see the 1200 plus MCQs with the help of workbooks, so that you can make more and more practice, which can make a grip in yourself regarding the NCERT. So please do not forget to take the access of this batch, which would be beneficial for you. Okay, so I am just going to give the small glance regarding the same topic. What we are talking about, the same. The food subsidies plan need. This is what we are studying about. How these things are playing a crucial role for the farmers by providing the prices which is lower than the market rate. The way I have given the explanation. Suppose I am a farmer, or I have made the production of 100 units at cost 10 per unit. Okay, but market price, due to the heavy supply, market price would be the 8 rupees. Why would I bear such loss? In that condition, government would come into the picture, and government would say, in order to prevent from such kind of disturbances in the economy, we are going to provide you the subsidies. Do not stop making the production. So in this way, MSP has to come into the picture just to prevent the farmers from such kind of conditions. So this is only available for 23 crops. Next is all about subsidies is not only based on the farmers, but also we are making the food subsidies for the consumers by availing the food grains to the consumers at the cheaper rate with the help of ration shops. And we are mandatory, FCI is mandatory to have fixed proportion for the PDS, public distribution system. Okay, central by the FCI. FCI is the centralized procurement. Why would we say centralized procurement? Why we are just talking about the centralized procurement? Like things which are associated with the central aim. Suppose what could be the MSP you need to determine? How would we determine? Who is determining the MSP? Commission of Agriculture Cost and Prices. They are determining the cost, like how much cost a farmer bear. On that basis, we are going to provide the MSP, minimum support prices, to the farmers so that they can cover the cost and get the prices which should be affordable for the farmers. Okay, so WTO matter, this is the current concern we were trying to make for the countries which are already in need. Okay, matter was trying to sell the surplus which is available. We were claiming that leftovers is there in the PDS of Indian economy. We can just sell those surplus to the countries which are already in need. Then why we have banned the export? In that condition, WTO said, such kind of condition, if we would have given the permission to Indian economy for once, it could take the advantage, it could be taken under the advantage by the other countries. Okay? Because our aim is just to increase the welfare of the entire world. If we are talking about, we are concerned with the entire world if we do talk about WTO. But our main aim is not to disturb your economy, like Indian economy, and just getting it settled the other economy. our main aim by providing the PDS system just to avail the requirement of survival to the people so that they could accommodate their needs, they could fulfill their needs. Okay? Next is all about centralize the procurement. MSP and the CIP both are the centralized procurement coming under the FCI, and difference between two is the food subsidies. What is CIP? You might have heard for once or twice. So lower prices that is determined by the government and must be lower than the MSP. If you are not, these are the steps of FCI. These are the steps of FCI, Food Corporation of India. If you do not have access, because government is allocating the fund for the FCI every year. Next is, if they are not allocating, like they are like getting loss of resources, lack of resources, they have privilege to take borrowings from the national small savings, especially from the bank or by issuing the bonds. They would have access for the same. Next is all about planning commission. We are making coverage of 67% population. If we are covering such a huge population, it has to play the crucial role in the economy. We have allocated 5.2% of the total expenditure. This is coming under the top 5 expenditure of the government. After the interest payment, you need to make exclusion of, because this is making the huge difference in the entire expenditure basis. Next is all about defense, transport, transfers to the states and pensions. After these things, after these 4 dimensions, fifth one is the food subsidies, holding the huge base. Okay, first is all about defense. Second is all about transport. Third is all about transfers. Fourth is all about pensions. After that, food subsidies is under the limelight, as it is we should also make the contribution, as it is making the contribution towards the 67% people. It involves 67% population. Plus, you will get shocked to know that poverty, if we are talking about the poverty, rural poverty is greater than the urban one. Financial report, websites, credit limit are given. This is related to, if we do not have access of money, we can take help from the bank and by issuing the bonds. So this is all set. This is with the reference, like if we have to talk about the ration cards, you need to know about the point. At the time of pandemic, migrants has faced such a disastrous condition. In that condition, faced the situation where they did not access the food grain just because they are having the ration card of different state. I have explained it by one example with myself, Rajasthan and Delhi. If I am living in Delhi and migrated from Rajasthan, I am having ration card of Rajasthan shifted to Delhi, then I would not access the food grain. Due to that reason, in order to eliminate such kind of disturbances, our government has launched One Nation, One Ration Card, so that such kind of problem would not come in the way in taking the access of food grain. So this is all set. Like if we do talk about the multidimensional poverty, 32.75 of the people in rural area are poor compared to 8.8 in urban area. Inefficiencies we are required to make eliminate. We need to eliminate it. Okay, I have already told about the batch. Do not forget to take the advantage about the batch. Next is all about 9 to 10. I always take this session regarding the economic. This is related to the static part. Things we will get to see in the sequential basis on the batches available on the app. So please do not forget to take the advantage of the app. And 12 to 1, you will get to see the DNA session from Monday. Daily news analysis. Thank you so much. Have a great day to all of you. If you have any query, you can put the comment on the same. Thank you so much. Have a great day to all of you.